Ladies and gentlemen, we have another unfortunate, and I say unfortunate because Senator Chris Van Hollen from Maryland was unfortunately denied access to Kilmar Abrego Garcia yet again illegally, despite Donald Trump illegally, unfortunately, or not unfortunately, because it's Donald Trump. He breaks every law. Illegally breaking the law and violating his due process rights, as well as a 2019 legal court order. Fuck you, Donald Trump. Let's get into today's legal breaking reporting by the USA Today. The article, ladies and gentlemen, is titled Van Hollen stopped at military checkpoint on way to Salvadorian prison. Senator Chris Van Hollen, the article reads, ladies and gentlemen, was stopped by armed guards at a military checkpoint on Thursday and turned away less than 2 miles from the notorious prison where a Maryland father who was wrongly deported illegally. My editorials note, ladies and gentlemen, from the U.S. is being held. It was the second day in a row the Maryland Democrat has been refused entry into the prison, even though 2 GOP House members were given a tour of the facility just 2 days earlier. USA Today was following the senator's motorcade when it was stopped. The checkpoint appeared to be set up specifically to keep him from the prison. Are you serious? Are you serious? F you, Donald Trump. F you. This is my video, my legal breaking reporting. I can do as I say. Fuck you, Donald Trump. Van Hollen traveled to El Salvador in hopes of touring the prison and meeting with Kilmar Abrego Garcia, who was detained by U.S. immigration officials illegally, unconstitutionally, and unlawfully, and in violation of not one, not two, but multiple court orders of Donald Trump to, one, rightfully not to deport him, and for him to be returned rightfully, legally, and constitutionally. But no, unfortunately, it's Donald Trump. I hate Donald Trump. He gives me the heebie-jeebies, ladies and gentlemen. Who would want to partner with Donald Trump? Donald Trump, if you're watching this, you're a sorry scumbag who does not deserve to be in the president, or let alone, you all know what I think of him and where he needs to be currently. Yes, one of the places, ladies and gentlemen, is in prison. Where else you guys think he needs to be? Continuing with this unfortunate legal breaking reporting, I was hoping it would be a positive. I was hoping that it would be a positive legal breaking reporting, ladies and gentlemen. In March, and deported to El Salvador despite a prior court order that forbade him from being returned to the Central American country. Our goal was very simple today, which was to check on the health and well-being of Kilmar, Van Hollen told reporters, but we were stopped by soldiers at a checkpoint about 3 kilometers from Secot prison. We were told by the soldiers that they'd been ordered to not allow us to proceed any further than that point. On Wednesday, Van Hollen met with El Salvadorian President Felix Yolola, but made little progress in his efforts to bring Abrego Garcia home to Maryland. Yolola told the senator he couldn't arrange access to the visit for Abrego Garcia in prison, my editorials note. Ladies and gentlemen, nor could he set up a phone call with the prisoner. Abrego Garcia, 29, a sheet metal worker and father of 3, was wrongfully detained in March by U.S. immigration officials near his home in Beltsville, Maryland, and deported to El Salvador 3 days later, even though an immigration judge had ordered that he could not be returned to the Central American country. Government attorneys acknowledged in court documents that he was deported by mistake, but say they have no authority to free him because he is imprisoned in a sovereign country. U.S. officials contend Abrego Garcia is a member of the MS-13 criminal gang, recently deemed a foreign terrorist organization, but their evidence relies on a confidential informant clothing Garcia was wearing in 2019 police encounter. A little racist much, ladies and gentlemen? Continuing with the article and legal breaking reporting. U.S. Judge Paula Zenas of Maryland, who is handling the case, has questioned the strength of the government's evidence. If you ask, ladies and gentlemen, if you ask me, the evidence is crap. Defendants have claimed, without any evidence, that Abrego Garcia is a member of MS-13, Zenas wrote in an April 6 opinion. Salvadorian President Nayib Bukele said during a visit to the White House on Monday that he would not release Abrego Garcia and called the suggestion preposterous. You racist motherfucker! You're racist, Nayib Bukele. Fuck you and fuck your daddy. Abrego Garcia's family has sued the U.S. government demanding his return. The U.S. Supreme Court ordered the Trump administration on April 11 to begin the process of bringing him home to the U.S. rightfully, legally, and constitutionally, my ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen. My editorial's note. Abrego Garcia is being held illegally and unlawfully and unconstitutionally. Abrego Garcia is being held in a El Salvador terrorism confinement center, or CCOT. The prison has been criticized for its harsh and dangerous conditions, as well as its rough treatment of prisoners. Since he was sent to the prison wrongfully, unconstitutionally, unlawfully, ladies and gentlemen, Abrego Garcia has not been allowed to have contact with anyone on the outside, including his wife and attorney, Van Hollen said. The senator, ladies and gentlemen, said that that is a violation of the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, a multilateral treaty to which El Salvador is a party. The treaty says that a detained and imprisoned person is entitled to communicate and consult with legal counsel. That, ladies and gentlemen, is just now more evidence that Donald Trump is violating a court orders to bring him home rightfully, legally, and constitutionally. Fuck you, Donald Trump. Fuck you. Fuck you, you racist piece of shit. While El Salvadorian officials have refused to allow Van Hollen into the prison, two Republican House members, Republican Representative Riley Moore of West Virginia and Jason Smith of Missouri, were given a tour of the facility and posted photos on social media on Tuesday. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is another constitutional violation and legal court order violation. All I say is, fuck you, Donald Trump. Fuck you, Republicans. Ladies and gentlemen, as always, I will continue to my best, to the best of my ability, provide you guys with more legal breaking updates as they become available. If you did enjoy this video, please consider liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing. This just boils my skin, ladies and gentlemen. Donald Trump, there should not be, I shouldn't have said, there should, ladies and gentlemen. There is clear factual evidence that you, J.D. Vance, and the entire Trump administration need to be arrested for treason. You POSs. And court order violations. Secondly, ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoyed, well, firstly, ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoyed, please make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe. Please, ladies and gentlemen, comment positive thoughts. No negative bullshit, or I will immediately axe the comments. I'm tired of you guys leaving negative bullshit comments. Secondly, you guys can stay up to date and in the know-how of what the fuck is going on in the world regarding these illegal acts that the Trump administration is doing by clicking the subscribe button, or clicking the bell icon that is right next to the subscribe button down below. It does not cost anything. Thirdly, ladies and gentlemen, you guys can help me out as well by helping me reach and achieve the goal of 150 plus subscribers. We're almost there. We just reached our 149th subscriber to the channel. We have one more. Next, we have a channel goal of 160 plus subscribers. The reason why I'm saying 160 plus subscribers, ladies and gentlemen, is because right after we reach and achieve the goal of 150 plus 160 plus subscribers, we have more subscribers to reach and achieve right after we reach and achieve the goal of 150 subscribers and 160 subscribers. Until my next legal breaking reporting, ladies and gentlemen, please stay positive, stay safe, and always look for the points of light in this induced darkness caused by Donald Trump and his illegal, unconstitutional, unlawful, illegal administration. Until my next reporting, ladies and gentlemen.